Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to explore the stories behind the research and data you bring to us. Remember the early days of the COVID lockdowns? Seems like a lifetime ago now, doesn't it?
It really does. That whole period, being stuck inside.
Yeah, the stir craziness was real. But it also pushed people in some weird directions, didn't it? Like, suddenly everyone was gardening.
Yeah, the plant nurseries couldn't keep up, and home improvement projects went wild.
Exactly. People were looking for
Yeah.
something. Control, maybe, connection.
I think so. A bit of self-reliance, a desire to connect with, well, something tangible, nature, even if just in the backyard.
Right. And that leads us to today's topic, which is maybe a less obvious outcome of all that, a big growth spurt
Yeah.
in hunting.
Really significant, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of counterintuitive, maybe.
Totally. So for this deep dive, we're looking at an article from the AHLA blog. It's called The Effect COVID Lockdowns Had on the Growth Spurt Hunting Experience. Our mission for you today is basically to unpack how this global crisis sort of accidentally breathed new life into hunting, which honestly had been fading. We'll look at why people picked it up and what it all means for, conservation and wildlife management down the line.
Sounds good. It's a fascinating story.
Okay, let's jump in. To really get this, we need to understand where hunting was before 2020.
Yeah, that context is super important because before the pandemic hit, hunting participation in the U.S., it had been going down pretty steadily, actually.
So long.
Well, the decline really picked up steam after the 1980s, so we're talking decades.
Wow. Not just a recent dip then. What was causing that slide?
It was a mix of things. A big one was just demographics. The folks who were big into hunting back in the 80s, they're getting older now.
Right, retiring from it or
Yeah, exactly. And the data shows, most hunters tend to stop buying licenses around age 65. The problem was there weren't enough younger people coming in to replace them.
a generation gap,
A
basically.
pretty significant one. And then there were broader societal shifts, too. Academics were pointing to things like more people living in cities, families getting smaller.
Less connection to that traditional rural lifestyle, maybe.
That seems to be a part of it. Some were even suggesting hunting might, eventually just fade out completely.
That sounds pretty dramatic.
Well, and the consequences were very real, especially for conservation, because fewer hunters means
Less money, right. From license fees and taxes on gear.
precisely. That's a huge funding source for wildlife agencies. So less money meant budget cuts.
Yeah.
The article mentions states having to cut back on really vital stuff programs dealing with invasive species, fighting poaching,
Right.
all because the funds just weren't there.
Okay, so that paints a picture. A long, slow decline. Serious worries about funding for wildlife.
Yeah.
It was a big concern for conservationists.
A massive concern, which makes what happened in 2020 even more surprising.
Right. Then comes